it's kind of hard to argue with the feel-good factor, but we have to look at what it actually does to your health.
Welcome back to a Closer Look on this Friday, the 6th day of March. Big weekend. We spring forward.
Spring forward, not fall back.
We do not fall back. We did that.
It amazes me how angry people get about this discussion.
You're not.
I'm just not that
hotly contested.
I'm not a curious person. Maybe I don't know. But they tell me I turn my clock back. I turn it back. Then I turn it ahead. I turn it ahead. Maybe I'm just too much of a rule follower. But I don't see the controversy. I don't really get the controversy. We get a little bit of sun in the summertime, and it's dark in the winter. I don't know. It doesn't. But there's so many people that are so passionate about this issue.
They truly are, and it's funny because you mentioned the wintertime, and everybody's kind of kicking a pop can, right? It's cold, it's dark, it's gray, it's miserable, and then that first day the sun comes out, and there's a little bit of warmth, and you get that little taste, that tease.
Yeah,
just changes everybody.
It is pretty magical.
So it makes you wonder, what if you stayed with one versus the other.
Yes.
Of course, BC on Sunday will be the last time that they spring forward.
Yes. We're going to talk about that today. Who's our guest today?
Our guest today is Patricia Lakin-Thomas. She's a prof at York University who studies circadian rhythms and biological clocks.
Yes, and she'll break that down for what that actually means.
Yes,
but she's going to give us some insight on kind of why this is such a hotly debated topic and why BC's probably not making the best move. Even though everyone else seems to want to follow them, it's probably not the best move. And just some good advice I think she's going to give us on how we handle the change. Because when you lose that hour of sleep, it does make a difference. You'll be surprised some of the things you learn from her.
All right, let's do it. For decades, scientists have said that twice-a-year clock change isn't just annoying, it's actually bad for our health. Now with David Eby announcing that British Columbia plans to scrap the seasonal switch and stick with daylight saving time year-round, the debate is heating up across the country, including right here in Ontario. But here's the twist. Many scientists who want to get rid of the clock changes aren't convinced that permanent daylight saving time is the right solution. So what does our biology actually want? Brighter evenings or brighter mornings? To help us make sense of it, we're joined by Patricia Lakin-Thomas, a biology professor at York University who studies circadian rhythms and biological clocks. Professor, welcome to Closer Look. It's great to see you tonight.
Very happy to be talking to you today.
All right, Professor, maybe we could start with a bit of a history lesson here. We know daylight savings time was first introduced across Canada in 1918, but can you tell us why it was introduced and how we got to spring ahead and fall back?
It's actually something of a mystery as to why Port Arthur, Ontario, now Thunder Bay, brought it in. We don't have a good record of why they voted for it, but it was brought in across Europe and then North America in World War I, thinking it was going to be an energy-saving move. Now, previously, it had been seriously suggested in the late 19th century by a British golfer who wanted to be out on the golf links on a nice sunny afternoon and have more time for golf. But the serious applications of it were in World War I, when they thought it would save energy. They thought it would save coal used for heating and lighting. And after the war, they dropped it. They brought it in again in World War II, dropped it again, brought it in again during the energy crisis in the 70s, and then it has just stuck with us since then. People have done audits of the energy budgets, and it doesn't consistently help you save energy. It might, depending on where you live, what your climate is, but it's not a serious contender for an energy-saving move. People have said maybe it's for the farmers, but farmers don't like it. No. They get up with the sun when the cows get up, The cows are going to follow the sun. Your crops are going to follow the sun. And farmers don't actually like daylight saving time because it means some of their producers are now demanding that they get the milk to them an hour early. And they're saying our cows aren't awake.
Yeah, that's right. They're not awake. That's a great point. Here's one of my many dumb questions, Professor. I'm sorry you're going to hang up with us.
But there are no dumb questions.
Oh, there are, my friend. Just wait until I start getting at them. But I still don't. What's the point then? How does that help save energy if you change? There's still 24 hours in a day. What's the difference if you change the clocks?
Well, that's right. And the theory was that you would burn less coal if you had light in the afternoon, but then you just ended up burning the coal in the morning.
Yeah.
So it didn't help.
Yeah, and the golfer too, just get up earlier and you'll get your round. And what's the difference if you change the clock?
No
Sounds like a
difference.
selfish guy.
Well, and those are the kind of, when we're looking for reasons to support daylight saving time now, it tends to be supported by outdoor industries like golf courses and outdoor shopping malls who think that they're going to get more business on like a nice long summer afternoon. People who have the leisure, who have the privilege to go out on the golf course, or who have the leisure to go shopping in the afternoon. Those are the kind of economic arguments. But again, I don't think that they are substantial enough to drive it. One reason I believe that daylight saving time hangs on is it has good press. It's got a great name. We're saving daylight. Is daylight in danger? We're going to save it? Or we're going to put it in the bank and earn interest on it? No, there's nothing to save. In fact, the law in the it isn't a law yet, but the bill in the United States that's been introduced several times, mostly pushed by Marco Rubio, is called the Sunshine Protection Act to bring in daylight saving time year round. So it gets good press and it sounds great. People do feel good when they could be out late on an afternoon, a sunny afternoon. And it's kind of hard to argue with the feel good factor, but we have to look at what it actually does to your health. And that's what we're concerned with.
Absolutely.
And as I've been thinking, the healthy option is not always the fun option.
Never is.
Never.
No, it never is. You're right. You're right, Professor. We definitely want to get into that. Before we do, just last question for me on this front is, does it surprise you at all still that it's such a hotly debated topic? Like, I feel like we're going to get so many people having questions, or even they're going to email us, that this is still something people debate so much, daylight savings time versus not daylight savings time.
Well, it's something that impacts every single person. All of us have got to change our clocks on Sunday, and you can't escape from it. It's a population-wide manipulation that everybody is going to be affected by. There are many other issues that affect a small segment of the population or that you can ignore. You can't ignore this. It's in everybody's face twice a year.
Let's talk about the health benefits or lack thereof, because there's, I guess, the real debate here, Professor, is we all agree that we need to do away with this, but which one do we keep and what are the benefits?
Right. So, two things to consider: do you keep the switches or not? And then, second, if you get rid of the switches, do you go to year-round standard time or year-round daylight saving time? So there's clear evidence that we ought to get rid of the switches, other than just the inconvenience and confusion of trying to change your clocks. We can see good data and increasing data every year that the switch in the spring, when we have to spring forward, we have increases in acute events, short-term events, things like car accidents, workplace accidents, and health events like strokes and heart attacks. We're not saying huge effects, but 5-7% increase. There's even a report that judges give harsher sentences for a few days after the time change.
Wow.
Part of that, so there are two things going on. One, we're losing an hour of sleep, and we're all sleep deprived anyway. So we're a little bit crankier because we've lost sleep. The other is that we're moving away from the standard time that we like to think of as a more natural time into the daylight saving time, when we've pushed our clocks forward, and we are messing up our circadian timing system in our bodies. So then we have to talk about the science of our circadian clock. And we have a clock in the brain that is set by light, and it needs really bright light. Indoor light isn't good enough. We really need the sunlight to set it. And that clock in the brain runs, or coordinates, I should say, clocks all over the body. And we have rhythms in just about every physiological function you want to name. Important rhythms like a rhythm of the stress hormone cortisol that should normally go up in the morning about the time you're supposed to wake up to get you ready for the stresses of the day. We have rhythms in the insulin that you put out to handle your food. There are rhythms in your gut motility and your intestinal activity that are there to help you digest the food, get ready for your meals. There are rhythms in your muscle function and in your body temperature, getting your muscles ready to be active. All of these things are going to be reset by the brain, which in turn is following the sun. So under standard time, we're closest to the ideal, which is that we get up with the sun and we get bright light in the morning. And we have to really focus on this morning light issue because our normal circadian clock runs slowly. And most people have a clock that lags a little bit naturally. And so we need the morning light to make it speed up, shove the clock forward. So we're now back in sync with the day-night cycle. When we get a lot of light in the afternoon, which is what daylight saving time does for you, that light in the afternoon does the opposite effect and it pushes your clock late, makes you want to stay up late. Maybe you stay up late and then in the morning the alarm goes off and you've got to get out of bed and go to school, go to work. But your body's not ready because you've pushed your clock late and all of those body rhythms aren't ready yet for you to get up, get active, face the stress of a commute, face your breakfast. And so things are out of sync and it just puts this physiological stress on you. So the spring forward is putting us into that more stressful daylight saving time. The fall, we just don't see those short-term negative effects. We don't see those increases in accidents and heart attacks and things in the fall. We're getting another hour of sleep and we're going back into our standard time. So most people will switch in the fall very easily. So definitely getting rid of the switches. That's everybody agrees with that. And then what do? Constant daylight saving time or constant standard time? So as I just said, the constant daylight saving time, we're just kind of jet lagging ourselves every day, and we never let ourselves get reset because we don't see the morning light.
That makes sense. Sorry, go ahead, Doctor. Did I cut you off?
Well, it's that, and in the winter is the worst. So here in Toronto, we won't see the sun until 9 a.m. if we go on year-round daylight saving time. And the same for Vancouver. So British Columbia that just switched, Vancouverites aren't going to see the sunrise until 9 a.m. in the winter. That's really hard on people. They're trying to get their kids out of bed and go to school.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to work on public transit in total darkness. So it's really the winter mornings that are going to be the toughest. And you'll never get your clock set because you'll never see that bright sunlight.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think the real takeaway message is if I'm going to be sentenced to a crime next week, I better call my lawyer and get off the docket because the judges aren't too happy right after we put our clock. That's one of my takeaways. The other takeaway for me, Doctor, is that you were obviously very surprised then that BC chose this instead of standard time. That must have shocked you.
It did. We have a nationwide loose consortium of people who study circadian rhythms and people who are sleep experts and sleep doctors. And we've been pushing for quite a while for abolishing the switching and going to standard time. And we had an emergency Zoom call on Monday afternoon. Everyone going, what is going on? And we've put out a public statement. What we would like to emphasize is that there's already a move to at least get a nationwide conversation. And this is a bill, a private member's bill, introduced into Parliament by MP Marie-France Lalonde. It's passed its first reading. As a private member's bill, it's not high on the priority. But we're hoping to push up the priority for that bill. All she's really asking is for a nationwide conversation. Let's have a conference. Let's have consultation and try to come up with a nationwide strategy so we're coordinated across the country instead of various jurisdictions doing this piecemeal and in a not very well-informed way, frankly. We'd like to bring the experts in. I predict that the suggestions will be nationwide standard time year round. But we want to bring the evidence forward, and we want to have the policymakers listen to it and be able to interrogate the question and come up with a nationwide strategy.
I just saw earlier today Alberta Premier Danielle Smith taking questions from a press scrum, and she's in favor of following David Eby's lead in BC and sticking with daylight. What are the discussions in our province here in Ontario? Have they been ramped up now because of what's going on in BC? What are you hearing?
I haven't heard anything yet from Ontario. Now, we already have something on the books that allows the province to move to year-round daylight saving time when it's coordinated with the neighboring jurisdictions of Quebec and New York. No sign that either of those are going to be moving. Now, I've never understood the argument that we're supposed to move in lockstep with our neighbors to the north and south. There seems to be this idea that you can't talk to someone across a time zone, but we do it all the time.
Yeah. Whoa, I can't talk to you. The clocks aren't aligned. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. We do business across the country, across time zones constantly. So I don't see any need to wait for neighboring jurisdictions. We should do what's right for Ontario now and go to year-round standard time. I've never understood this idea that you need to coordinate. Now, one of the things that Danielle Steele had said was that she thought it might be nice if all of Western Canada was coordinated. But
right.
Why? There's no real need for that, especially if you're pushing Alberta into a time zone that is going to put stress on the entire population.
Yes, yeah.
There's no need for that. We can work across time zone boundaries perfectly well.
Well, given what's going on in Alberta, I'm surprised she doesn't want her own time zone.
Yeah, that's right. She might, yeah. I was going to make a bad joke about how maybe we should be using this daylight savings time discussion as leverage in our next free trade negotiations with the United States, but maybe we'll keep that out of it. That's probably not something you want to wade into, Professor. It is fascinating, though, because you mentioned the Ontario, it's on the books that if New York and Quebec change, Ontario can change, but you're saying that it's for daylight savings time in that scenario as well, not standard time.
Yeah.
Why is nobody listening to the obvious evidence that you're saying?
Again, I think it's good press. It sounds good. Daylight savings sounds nice. We tend to talk about standard time as winter time. And we tend to talk about daylight saving time as summertime. And you tell people we're going to go on year-round summertime, and they go, "Oh, great! It's going to be warm and sunny all January, right?" Sorry.
Could you imagine driving to work at 8:45 and it's still dark outside?
No.
It would be awful.
Yeah.
You want to do some research, right, Professor? Imagine the level of anxiety and people feeling blue if that was the case all winter, January, February. That'd be awful.
Well, that's right, and especially for people who are sensitive to depression and people who have seasonal affective disorder, who really need the morning light to help lift their spirits. And we know that the morning light can really help people avoid depression and help alleviate sometimes depression. So I'm predicting not only will British Columbia potentially have some chronic long-term health effects, but also some mental health effects could be showing up from dark winter mornings. When this has been tried, it's been tried before in the United States in the 70s, in Russia for a couple of years. They went on year-round daylight saving time. It sounded great. Most of the population was in approval of it before they started. After a couple of winters, the approval ratings flipped, and people hated it so much that they quit doing it. The U.S. went back to switching twice a year. I think Russia went back to a standard time year-round. So it's very popular, and it's clear that British Columbia has done it as a populist move. In fact, that's what David Eby said.
Yes.
Sometimes we like to do something that's popular, he said, before he brought out all the dancing children.
That's right. And what you're saying is poll the people in the winter to see if it's still popular, right?
That's exactly what I would like to see. I would like to see a genuine poll. Now, the other problem is when they put these polls out, and they put one out in BC in 2019, they only gave people two choices. Would you like to stay switching twice a year, or would you like to drop the switches and go to year-round daylight saving time? They don't give the third choice, which is year-round standard time. So, of course, in BC, almost everybody said, yeah, get rid of the switches. But they weren't given the third option. So it's a little bit misleading to say the population is all in favor of year-round daylight saving time when they were never given an option to say something else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, Professor, before we let you go this evening, anything that we didn't touch on that perhaps we should have?
Maybe just a little bit of advice for people how to cope with this time change.
Yeah,
please.
This weekend, if you had been able to get ready a few days early, you could have started changing yourself about 15 minutes a day. But hardly anybody has the actual discipline to do that. But what you should really do is try to get yourself on the new schedule as fast as you can. So that's front loading your day, I would say, which means get out and get light in the morning. Get out and get exercise, because exercise can also help reset your clock. Ideally, exercise outside. And front loading your food, because food can also reset your clock. So your meal timing, you should get on a regular meal schedule. And more of your calories on the first half of the day, and not eating late at night, which can mess up your clock timing. And if you do all of that, you'll be able to set yourself as well as you can to at least try to cope with the new time regime.
All right, good stuff.
Good advice.
It is very good advice. Dare I say it, Professor, we are out of time, but we thank you for yours. There's Patricia Lakin-Thomas from York University joining us from Toronto this evening. Thank you, Professor. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Wonderful conversation.
I always find when you spring forward, and I know it's only an hour, but the day flies by.
It does fly by.
It's crazy how it goes.
You do
and
lose
then
that hour.
Likewise the other way, right? It feels like the day lasts twice as long.
Yeah.
1 hour. The impact is wild.
You know, in this day and age we live in of personal freedoms, why don't we just revolt? I'm not going to change my clock. What happens to me? They're going to come after me? The cops going to, the time police going to knock on the door?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right? So what would that mean? So if I don't turn my clock back, that means I'd be coming to work earlier, not later.
That is correct.
Yeah, so I'd get here at noon instead of 11.
I know. That's funny. All right. I mean, the only good part about this is I get to get back here an hour quicker to see you guys on Monday.
Right? Let's not go overboard. Oh man! I'm calling in sick Monday.
No.
See, you know what? She's right. The health effects. It was too much. I already know I'm not gonna be able to handle the time change.
Not even with a straight face.
I'm out on
Monday.
Monday.
I might be too. Screw it. We're all out. We're protesting the time change.
We should.
I can't guarantee we'll be here Monday.
We should. Could you? I'm sure if we look on Facebook, there's got to be an anti-daylight savings time group that's still going to say it's the wrong time.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that's it. Let's pack up, kick off the weekend, shall we?
Yes.
All right.
We're still going to run this at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.?
Yes.
8 p.m.?
Yes. 7 Eastern, 8:30 in Newfoundland. Whatever. Just check your news feed, check socials, you'll find us. We'll be there. All right, Derek Turner, producer of this evening's program. Michael Friscolanti is our editor-in-chief here at Village Media. I'm Scott Sexsmith. We truly appreciate your time this week. Hope you had as much fun as we did. Let's do it again next week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday night at 7 on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.